Tell me, do you bleed? You will.
Hello YouTubers, my name is Frederick Lopez, you're on the Dark Knight of Steel channel, and today I'm going to be going over my non-spoiler review of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I just saw Dawn of Justice earlier today, and let me just start out by saying that I think the critics are really wrong on this one on the early reviews. And in my personal opinion, I think they're full of it. There's some flaws to the film, pacing-wise, and then in editing choices. But overall, it's a much deeper film than I expected it to be. Uh, and it made me feel emotional. I wasn't really looking forward to another Batman film after the Dark Knight trilogy, at least not till another decade or so. But let me start off by saying I thought I would hate Jesse Eisenberg as Lex. I thought he was going to be like a Riddler, Willy Wonka hybrid. And he was a little bit crazy in some parts, but he was like a smart crazy. And I kind of liked this different approach. It wasn't with a real estate scam. And I really thought he was going to annoy me, but it actually worked for me personally, which surprised me. I thought it was more like the mad scientist Lex Luthor from like the 1950s comics and the earlier comic book versions of Lex. They kind of modernized that mad scientist Lex with the corporate Lex and kind of put into a hybrid. He also kind of reminded me of the Lex clone in Death of Superman and World Without Superman, where he had hair, where he transferred his consciousness to another body. I liked Henry Cavill in Man of Steel, but he really knocks it out of the park in this film, as does the writing with who Superman is and the personal struggles he faces being the savior of mankind. Ben Affleck does a great job as Batman. It really didn't surprise me that he was cast. I didn't have a problem with it because I remember back in 2002 before Daredevil, Warner Brothers was throwing around the idea of Ben Affleck being in Batman, along with like Josh Hartnett and some other choices. And they're also thinking of having Clint Eastwood as an older Batman, but they've been throwing that idea around for like a couple of years, so it really didn't surprise me that Ben Affleck was Batman. He's given a good setup to why he is after Superman. I thought his Bruce Wayne was good, but his Batman, as far as fighting and stature, is the best we've seen yet on film. I mean, it was like the Batman Arkham video games. When he was fighting, I swear I was seeing the special combo meter. However, I felt Michael Keaton and Christian Bale did a better job on being two completely different people. It's not to say that Ben Affleck doesn't do that, but I just felt it was more like two people. But he does get the whole persona of the Playboy right, and he does play that older Batman. And there's certain scenes in this that are very reminiscent of like dream sequences and flashbacks to Bruce Wayne's character in the graphic novel The Dark Knight Returns. Clark Kent in this is pretty much the same as he is in Superman. Henry Cavill kind of plays it more of like a George Reeves type of Clark Kent, or should I say Dean Cain, where he's not like a bumbling idiot being another person and like a klutz. He's kind of more like, I'm Clark Kent and I'm the same person I am as Superman, but I happen to just I'd be a journalist and not wear my Superman suit today. I really loved Amy Adams in this. I thought she was much better in this one than she was in Man of Steel, and I liked the chemistry between her and Clark, Lois and Clark. But I really liked the relationship, and it was nice having Clark Kent and her have a relationship, especially without him hiding the fact that he's Superman from her. It really made it a lot better, and it was more like the later seasons of Lois and Clark and the final season of Smallville. From the beginning, I've been really keen on Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman. I think she did a wondrous job. And it's just a shame that we haven't had Wonder Woman in a live action film or any live action format since the 70s, for about 40 years with Linda Carter. We've had Wonder Woman in cartoons with Justice League and then the Kerry Russell and Nathan Fillion animated film, but we really haven't had her much in live action. So it was really nice seeing her in live action. I would have loved the film if they gave us a stupid reason for Batman and Superman to fight. They take a pretty real and logistical approach to them fighting. They give a reason why they're fighting. It's not just because it's like Batman and Superman ideals. There's more to it at stake that I won't get into until my spoiler review. I don't feel that the film is overtly cartoon. It lacked the humor that Marvel Studio films have, but I have to say that's a great thing because it's awesome watching a film that actually feels like a film. There's not a joke every 5 minutes, and I get tired of that. It's nice to see a serious film without having so many jokes that it's almost borderline parody to the likes of something like Scary Movie or Blank Man. I like that the world felt real. You saw CNN, you saw like different journalists. It felt like it was in the real world compared to the other movies, and I really loved how Zack Snyder was able to bring the fantasy fictional element of the comic books and blend it into our world and our society that we live in presently. I love that no matter how hard Superman tried, he could not change mankind. Mankind will always be the same. War, famine, politics, and much more will always be a problem, even with a Superman present in our world. I actually felt overjoyed with the trinity of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman on screen. And it was just exciting, and that's a feeling I wanted from the Avengers, and it just didn't give it to me, where this felt really exciting. There's some Easter eggs and scenes, of course, that could have been omitted, but the extra length isn't too bad. It kind of slows it down a bit, but they still have to connect with Superman and what's going to come up with the Justice League of America. Um, they're not like Amazing Spider-Man 2 where they try to shoehorn the Sinister Six, and they're not like Age of Ultron where Thor is setting up Ragnarok but has nothing to do with Ultron. I can see the argument with some of the sequences, but it has to do with Superman, and it aids Batman's motivations to go after Superman in the first place. So I like how it was done. Most of all, I feel that this film was for the fans, and it really connected other stuff from other materials. They could have easily made an adaptation of Dark Knight Returns, Death of that Superman, and other materials, but I like how they just picked like Doomsday off of Death of Superman, the Batman Superman from Dark Knight Returns, and just mixed and matched and made their own story. And I like it when it's original that way. There's also, for some players out there, there's also some little nods to Injustice Gods Among Us. And if you've seen Smallville or Justice League Unlimited, there's a certain foe of the Justice League that's going to be foreshadowed in the film that you'll see later. The stakes are really high, and it really surprised me. It had a very 9/11 vibe to it, like the feeling of when 9/11 happened. It really brought those memories back for me, and it's basically in a post-terror world. And certain scenes just remind me of like stuff in the news with post-terror, mixed in with like the attack scenes in Live Free or Die Hard, Dark Knight Rises, and Olympus Has Fallen. It's a lot to process right now. This is just a quick review, but I do not think it's as bad as what reviewers claim. I actually agree with Richard Roper, Peter Travers from Rolling Stone, and Forbes magazine's review. It has some flaws, but it's not that bad of a film, and the good definitely outweigh the bad. If they do move forward to the Justice League of America film, they need to just focus on one thing and then maybe flesh out some more things. I felt like they might have put too much into this film. Not that it was necessarily all bad, I just felt like the film would have been stronger if they just focused on just one or two parts of it and flesh it out more. So for the future, I hope they don't get too carried away and keep adding. I hope they just like come up with a good foundation and just elaborate and explore more of the good things that came out of this film. But overall, it's a very good foundation for Justice League. They can springboard off of this film, and if they continue on the good things from this film and Man of Steel, I feel like we'll have a solid DC universe. But one thing I hate the arguments of DC, Warner Brothers trying to catch up with Marvel and the whole Marvel thing. First of all, Marvel Studios and Warner Brothers DC, they do their own thing, and I hope Warner Brothers and DC continue to do their own thing. I feel like this film's getting some unnecessary backlash. I feel like there's other films that get a pass. Oh, because it's fun. It can be okay to have like a lot of jokes and be stupid, and I'm just tired of that Happy Meal cookie cutter bullshit. And audiences just eat that up. They just eat up all the reboots, sequels, and remakes and stuff as well. And I kind of like how this one's different. There's complaints that Batman kills. Well, guess what? Christian Bale indirectly killed other people, even though he had the no-kill rule, and Michael Keaton killed. Sure, the whole gun thing, but you know what? I kind of like Batman killing, and I like him being tougher. He's also an older Batman. He has a foundation built, and I thought Ben Affleck did a good job in that. He's come a long way since Daredevil, and you can tell he's been through a lot in his life. And I know they say it's not for kids, but to be fair, the last three Batman films weren't really for kids either. I know I'm in the minority here, but I was the type of individual who was just tired of comic book films in general from both Marvel Studios and just Warner Brothers DC. And this film gave me some hope. I can't wait for Justice League. Ultimately, don't listen to critics, don't listen to me, don't listen to anybody. Go see the film, form your own opinions about Batman v Superman. It was much better than expected, but very long. But I'll look forward to the R-rated cut, July 16th.
Overall, I really liked Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice and did not think it was as bad as what critics said. I give it an 8 out of 10 and a 3.5 out of 4 stars.
If you like this video, go to my second channel on the Frederick Lopez channel. Check out my binge review of Daredevil Season 2, in which I binge watched Daredevil Season 2 and then review it. Later this weekend, I'll have a spoiler-filled Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice review.